So yesterday, I'm pushing my son in the stroller, walking with my wife, and lo and behold, what do I see? I see this. So what you're seeing now is the logo of one company with a book with Charter Up on the side of their bus. And so while I can't be sure this is the case, what I think is happening is this. Charter Up likely gives this company lots and lots of business, and this company was probably doing work for this client, and Charter Up probably said, look, you need to put our logo, our branding on your bus when you're doing this job. Now, I've heard of other companies doing this. I know this can kind of sometimes happen in these sorts of situations where you're sending in a job to an affiliate. Granted, I don't think I've seen this before. I've seen, okay, cover up your own logos. Okay, that's one thing. But to actually say, okay, no, just put our logo on your bus. I hope they are getting a very good deal with Charter Up, getting lots of business from Charter Up, because I feel like this is, you're heading down the path that takes you away from really what makes companies valuable in the first place. It's sort of like making a deal with the devil, and your competition isn't the other operators in your city. It's the platforms that you think are helping you, the Blacklanes of the world, the Charter Ups, really what booking.com is to airlines. Charter Up, Blacklane is becoming to the limo and chauffeur transportation industry. So look, maybe this is just a natural evolution of things. And I can't really say for sure, because the truth is this industry has lots of issues with sales and marketing. And I think what Charter Up saw years and years ago, they saw this opportunity. They saw that, especially with buses, the industry was extremely fragmented, and well, you yourself today just go and try to get some quotes on booking a bus. Let's say you have a wedding coming up. What I want you to do is just go online and go get a few different quotes from a few different operators out there. What you're gonna find is it's not the greatest experience. And Charter Up saw this years ago. And by the way, it's not just buses, it's really everything. Now, the brokering model makes more sense when you do bigger jobs and you have bigger contracts. When I first started out in the industry, doing agency work, Google Bing ads for clients 8 years ago, now in the industry, I would get lots of clients who were trying to make the broker thing work, but for black car. And what I learned after a few years was I just stopped allowing that to happen, because I realized that it costs so much money to acquire a client through Google or Bing ads. Let's say it costs you $80 or $100 to acquire a client through Google ads. And let's say you're doing an airport transfer, and let's say it's just a one-way airport transfer. Even if you get a round trip, let's say you're in a big city like LA, it's not going to be cheap, probably minimum round trip even to somewhere very close. You might be looking at $350, but if it's costing you almost $100 to acquire that customer, which it might even be more than that, you still have all these other costs, right? And so if the customer is only using you one time, you're really losing money. And I see this again and again with black car operators, that, the model never worked. I learned a long time ago when someone tried to, come and sign up, and they said, well, I don't own any vehicles. I just want to be essentially a sales and marketing company. And you're going to be the marketing side. And then, of course, they would outsource the sales side too. So they really weren't providing anything of value. And I say this because I've made these mistakes before. Okay, I've done these sorts of things, and I have actually an older video on this, on how do you really what are the different business models in this industry. And the broker model, I never saw really working for stretch limo, party bus, there's one exception. There's one company. They've made it work. Now, granted, they're out of Florida. They've been around 20 years, and they have incredible online marketing, incredible SEO. And so they get lots and lots and lots of essentially free leads. They're not free, of course. They invest in search engine optimization, but very low cost leads, and their sales is dialed in. I guarantee you that, because the problem is with stretch limos, party buses, most of those have a higher chance of being a one-off transaction, right? Whereas black car, and also with buses, with black car, what you're looking for, the whole reason to do online marketing, it's not worth doing paid ads for black car unless you're landing big corporate clients, or they don't even have to be big, but just businesses, right? Local businesses that use services like yours, that have events, that you can become more of a transportation coordinator. And I've seen it where someone who's got only a few vehicles lands a very large contract, or I should say a very large job, where they're bringing in, a couple dozen different, vehicles, from SUVs to sprinters to buses. So that's really where you want to be when you do black car, and when you're doing online marketing for black car. If you're not landing those sorts of clients, it doesn't work. Now, buses have always been different. It's the only class where you do get repeat customers, like you do with black car. And the average size ticket is higher, like limo and party bus. And so you actually get the best of both worlds. And, it's a 7-day-a-week business, right? Whereas, and it's actually more so probably Monday through Friday than it is Saturday and Sunday. And so the longer I've been in this industry, the more I've kind of questioned party bus operators, because I just look at the economics of it, and I look at how much leads cost for party bus companies, and I figure, if they, let's say, are crushing it with their lead volume, and I've seen this, a third of their leads in a given month, or let's say 20% of their leads are all for one Saturday that month, right? And so what happens is their busiest nights book up very quickly, and many times, and this is common, I see them massively underprice their Saturday nights, because those should be going for much more. But anyways, back to the original picture at hand, okay? So what are we in danger of here as an industry, or what are operators in danger of? Well, I kind of feel like it's confusing. Where is the value? Like, you have to start and ask yourself, what's my goal? If my goal is to essentially have a job, and they feel like it's a business because you might have you might be registered as an S corp or an LLC, and everything else says business, but you don't own the client. So really, you don't own. In my opinion, it might be a business, but it's not a valuable business, and it will never be valuable if you do not have the things that actually give a business value. If you've been doing it long enough and you have enough reviews in a given market, I have clients that have over 1,000 reviews. One client, Derek from Elegant Image Limousine, he's got like over 1,000. That is extremely valuable, right? If you have contracts, those can be very valuable as well, right? Especially multi-year contracts. If your website is ranked well on Google, right, and you get lots of leads organically, that is valuable. But here's why I think this happens. I think this happens because, let's be honest, online marketing kind of sucks, right? It sucks. You have to find a vendor, you have to find an agency, and typically you're not going to hit pay dirt on your first one, right? There's two things you can do. Depending on your size. If you're a smaller operator, and by the way, even if you're a larger one, I still recommend learn the basics. These days, it's wild what you can do with AI. And I'm going to have more videos on that to show you guys kind of how you can be leveraging that in your own businesses. But, and for, the calculus has changed to where I actually believe that up until a certain size, like now I'm thinking operators that maybe they're a little bit smaller, maybe they're only doing 100, 200 grand a year. Hey, take some time to learn Claude Cowork, the basics of Claude, and you can probably do your own marketing in the beginning. Now, at some point when you're hitting, if you're spending more than a few $1,000s a month on ads, I guarantee you, no matter what, an agency that knows what they're doing is going to get you better results than you will get. The higher the ad spend you have, the more it makes sense to have an agency handle it. But anyways, usually it's a painful process. You have to many times try lots of different agencies before you find one that actually you can grow with. And so what ends up happening, and then don't get me started on the sales, right? And that's probably the biggest issue in this industry is, okay, you have all these leads coming in, but, they're not getting quoted right away, right? Needs assessment aren't being done. What's a needs assessment? Well, I'll give you an example. You see someone with a corporate email, he's calling in, he needs a one-way Sprinter transfer, right? And he books right away. And of course, should have asked, you might as well, do you want to book the round trip? You're going to save 10% on the second leg. You want to do that, obviously. So you look at this person's email and you're like, whoa, this looks like an expensive domain. It's a 3-letter domain, let's say, or and this, maybe even Google them. And you're like, okay, this could be a player. So the question becomes then, why are you looking for a new vendor if you're with a large company, right? That likely uses these services often. Why are you even looking for a vendor? And the answer is obvious, of course, because their last vendor either didn't follow up with them or they dropped the ball or whatever. But in order to have success, it takes finding someone to help you get and build your brand. It takes learning the basics of sales and then making sure your team is doing these things consistently. Now, the truth is, you should be doing these things consistently, okay? If you're under 7 figures a year and you are not doing your own sales, I am telling you right now, that is why you are not growing. I have seen enough operators now in my 8 years that I can say definitively 95+% of the time, if you are under 7 figures and you're not handling your own sales, then you are slowing the rate at which you will hit 7 figures. Now, there's some assumptions baked in here. Hopefully you're doing online marketing or you are getting leads in. But the value of doing online marketing is finding these big corporate clients, right? That's where all the money is, right? I've got plenty of clients that do Seattle, the Pier 66 or 91 cruises, or a client who does Houston to, IH or Hobby to Galveston, back and forth, and Black Car. And the margins are razor thin because everyone, I want more of those runs. I want more of those runs. Well, they're not making you any money because they're the most competitive ones. They're the most commoditized. What's not commoditized is having a relationship with someone who you are their go-to person and they don't question, the bill. You might be on a net 30. But you're going to get paid, and you're going to get paid enough to where there's a nice profit built in there for you. And I think even with Waymo, Tesla, all this stuff, it might affect the industry a little bit. I think it's going to much more affect Uber, Lyft, and that sort of thing. For high-end luxury, for events, especially buses, sprinters, you guys are fine for now. But there's a big caveat. You're fine. But don't forget what makes a business valuable in the first place. It is not your metal. What makes it valuable is brand, reviews, what you've built, and of course, your website, how many leads you're getting a month organically. Do you have a client acquisition system? Do you have a sales staff that's trained, that knows how to ask those probing questions, that is compensated with commission, right? That isn't just paid hourly. And I say sales, I like to call it a transportation concierge. But anyways, these are the things I would be asking yourself. So if you're a bus operator or sprinter operator or whatever, black car operator even watching this, be careful, okay? Be very careful, because what happens is, and I get that it's tempting, right? You have overhead, you have bills to pay, and these affiliates are giving you lots of business. What's the big deal if they put their logo on the side of my bus? Well, that's a very dangerous thing, because at the end of the day, they're gonna just find whoever will do that for a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less. The value in what this industry does and what we do as an industry is the relationships with the clients. It is that. Because unfortunately, I say anyone, but getting someone from point A to point B, that's pretty much automated at this point. What isn't automated are relationships, are people that, finding someone you like to work with, an executive assistant whose life you make much easier. And she's like, that's my go-to guy. And at the end of the day, those companies, it matters far, far more. Does everything go off correctly, rather than, oh, can we save a few bucks here, a few bucks there? No. So guys, operators, gals, don't forget what's important, and that is the relationship with your clients. Thanks for watching this week's video, guys. I'll see you on next week's.